Hello everybody and welcome to this video. I'm an Italian student in computer science and this is my first video in English. Today I want to introduce some of the features that in my opinion every Python programmer needs to know. But first let me say that this will be a non-complete list and also an introductory video. It's clear that each topic that I'll mention should be studied in much detail. So I invite you to let me know in the comments below if you are interested in any particular topic. Okay, let's go to the point. Multiple assignment. This is a very interesting Python feature which lets you assign many variables with one single assignment instruction. This technique is also known as tuple unpacking because to solve the simplest form of type xy equals 1, 2 as you can see on the slide, Python uses a tuple. So under the hood it converts 1, 2 in a tuple and iterates to assign x and y. Anyway, in my honest opinion the most descriptive term is iterable unpacking. Yes, because this technique can be applied to whatever iterable object. We can say that every iterable is also unpackable. So, for instance, it works on every Python data structure and also on strings, and here you have some examples. But a very juicy consequence, which I find really useful, is the fact that the unpacking makes it possible to make a function return more than one value. Here we have defined a function with name fun, which returns 3 values, 1, 2 and 3, and we can assign the result of this function to a single variable, in this case object. This variable will contain a tuple, but thanks to the unpacking we can also assign the result of this function to 3 different variables, and in this case x will have value 1, y will have value 2 and z value 3. Lambda functions. A lambda function is an inline anonymous function which can have 0 or more arguments and consists of a single expression. For example, here I have defined the function add1, which does exactly what its name declares, that is returning the argument plus 1. But we can do the same thing with a much more simple syntax, lambda x colons x plus 1. Then we can assign the result to a variable and call the function through the variable itself. Generally, a lambda function is passed as an argument to another function. This is the case of map and filter functions, which are the next must-know point. Map and filter are built-in functions which bring functional programming into Python, allowing you to write cleaner and more readable code. In fact, map and filter are typical operations of the functional paradigm. Both applies to a collection of data, and more specific, the first one, that is map, allows you to apply a certain function to all the elements of the collection. The second one, instead, allows you to extract from the collection only the elements that respect a particular condition. And this is generally true, but the way Python implements these functions is here on the slide. So we have the map function, which takes 2 arguments, a function as first argument, and this is the function that will be applied to all the elements of the collection, and then 1 or more iterables. The filter function is pretty similar, except for the fact that the first argument, in particular the function, must return true or false, and also it takes 1 single iterable as a second argument. Now, I advise you to keep in mind 2 things when you go and study these 2 functions. First, map and filter are functions, not methods. Especially for those who practice a lot of Java, as me, it can often come natural to use these functions as if they were methods. Second, in Python 2, these 2 functions return a list object. In Python 3 instead they return map object and filter objects. And typically what you do is passing these objects to the constructors of data structures, such as list, tuple, or set. Magic methods. The magic methods are special methods that are not meant to be invoked directly by the programmer, but their invocation is done automatically when an event occurs. For instance, here we have the class named myClass, which has 4 magic methods. The first one is the init magic method, which is invoked when the programmer uses the constructor of this class. So you use this method to initialize the class. We have the equals magic method, which is invoked when the programmer uses the equals operator, the hash magic method, and also add. But I can tell you that there are so many. In fact, I think I'll leave in the description the link to the official documentation, where they are all listed. Data structures. In general, data structures are a fundamental part of every programming language, and in particular Python offers these data structures. The list, which represents an ordered sequence of elements not necessarily distinct, the dictionary, which represents a set of key-value pairs, the set, which represents a mathematical set, so distinct elements without ordering, and finally the tuple, which can be seen as a list but immutable, so it can be modified. Now, I'm sure that those who have used languages like Java, C or C++ have noticed the lack of the array data structure. Yes, Python doesn't have a built-in array, but you can get it from the super famous module NumPy, which is widely used in scientific projects such as machine learning. However, I'm sure that excluding scientific projects, your coding sessions won't be affected by the lack of arrays, just because there is the list data structure, which offers all the advantages of the arrays, also in terms of computational complexity and much more. Built-in modules. First of all, a module is nothing more than a file with extension .py containing a number of functions, classes, methods, and variables, which you can import and then use in your scripts. The built-in modules are so called because they come with the installation of the language itself, and are part of what we call standard library. Well, in this field, Python is excellent because it provides a remarkable number of modules. Here you see only a part of them, but also in this case I'll leave a link in the description where you can find the complete list. Non-built-in modules. In addition to built-in modules, in Python there is also a huge quantity of third-party modules, which are widely used. This means that these modules don't come with Python default installation, and you have to install them manually. However, this is not a problem at all, because the Python package manager, that is pip, allows you to download these modules directly from the official repository, that is Python package index. Well, you have seen the 7 features that in my opinion each Python programmer must know. I hope that as the first English video on this channel it was not so bad. I'm sorry if my English was not so good, and thanks for watching.